This is going to be our fifth sketch. This part's a little different than what we've seen in the past. This has multiple planes, multiple parts, got a bunch of holes in it, some things that'll be tough to do. We're going to ignore the curve on the bottom here where my index finger is. We're also going to ignore it here just to make it a little easier for us as we learn how to do this. I'm going to start this part by creating this cube first, then we're going to create this cube second, and then we'll look at how we put the holes in. So let's get started. So scale and proportion is important, and just like we have in the past, we're going to start with a Y, or isometric Y that we've been dealing with, making sure we start with a 90-degree corner of ours, because that's how we've been doing them. As I progress, I have to think about scale and proportion. So if I look at this, I notice it's pretty thin on this edge, and it's rather large on top. So I'm trying to create that same scenario here, thin on the edge, large on top. Again, sketching things in very lightly, making sure that I draw lightly, so if I have to erase, I can. So there's my first cube, and all I've done is I've created this space here. Next, we're going to add this cube, and notice that cube's twice as tall as our first, and it's about 25% the depth. So we're going to kind of work on it. I'm going to leave that there, hopefully, so we can see it. I'm just going to draw up here, a little bit here, and a little bit here, keeping in mind as I draw that I make lines over and over again with my hands so that I can learn a little muscle memory. So I'm going to create this surface here, and I'm going to create the top. I'm going to move this out of the way. We'll create our top, and I can see that. And then lastly, this vertical line. The question is, where does that line stop? So that line stops right here on our surface, but we need to find that corner right here so that we can determine where this line stops. To do that, we just bring this down very lightly, bring this out very lightly. So we find that corner. This corner is going to come out parallel with everything else. We're going to see that that terminates right there. And again, we use this corner back here, just like that corner there, to figure out where this line terminates. Lastly, we have a large hole here. To make that hole so it looks correct on this surface, sometimes it's easy to start with a little square on that surface. What that little square allows us to do is get it parallel so the hole appears to be on the right plane. And that square I drew a little dark so you can see it in the video. Normally I draw that really light. And then we have a little bit of a frown there because we can see through it. So now it shows the depth of our hole. And then lastly, we have 4 little holes surrounding that larger hole. So as I draw those 4 in, I also have 2 more holes up here which we can't see through, so I'm going to draw those in as well. And there's our part number 5. Again, if you have any issues, please rewind and watch again.